Hello, fellow Amiga users. I'm Bill. Come with me today when we check out the brand new Commodore Amiga Keycaps.
Your meditation.
I hope everyone is doing great. Man, there are so many exciting things happening in the Amiga community, and one of the most exciting are these brand new keycaps from A1200.net. Now, I'm super lucky to be one of the first people to receive these keycaps, so I'm going to open up the package, see what's inside, and share my experience with you. So a bit of history. Several years ago, A1200.net started out with their first Kickstarter campaign, and it was for brand new Amiga 1200 cases. The campaign was really successful. The cases are awesome. They're top-notch quality, they got lots of new features, and came in a variety of colors. But now you got a problem. You got all these people with these new beautiful cases, and you're still stuck with the old yellowed keys. So A1200.net decided to make a new Kickstarter and new keys to accompany the new cases. The Keycaps Kickstarter ended back in January of 2017. That's right, January 2017. It's 2 years ago. Now, this long delay disappointed lots of folks in the Amiga community, and rightfully so, man. 2 years is a long time. What happened was, along the way, they were getting samples back from the factory, and it turns out that the design was flawed. So they went back to the drawing board and fixed the design. Now, to me, this is a positive. It shows that A1200.net cares about the quality of their product. They didn't just rush these things out, because that would have been a disaster. If they had sent out flawed keycaps, it would have been terrible. I'd rather them take their time and get the design right. I also really appreciate all the updates that A1200.net gave their Kickstarter backers. This gave me a lot of confidence that the project was going to be finished. So let's take a look at what we have here. They sent me a set of original Amiga color keys and a set of black keys. These keycaps are actually not the ones I pledged for. I pledged for the CD32 colored case and keycaps. These caps were provided to me for review purposes only. They also came with some other items. We have a keycap remover tool, 100 springs, and plastic clips of 2 sizes. When I first saw this stuff, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a lot of work to replace all these keys. But it turns out that the springs and the clips are there just as spares. You don't have to replace all these clips and all the springs. They're just there if yours are worn out. If you're an Amiga keyboard noob like myself, who's never taken an Amiga keyboard apart before, you might be wondering what the plastic clips are for. The plastic clips fit into the bottom of the keycap and then attach to the stabilizers that you can find in some of the larger Amiga keys, like the Shift key, the spacebar, and the Tab key that you see pictured here. There's 2 sizes, small and medium, because some keys require different sized clips. Now there's also a large size, and that's for the spacebars, but they're not included with this kit because you would have to make an additional mold and the price of the keycaps would increase dramatically as a result. Back when this campaign was first announced, I just kind of assumed that these keys were for the Amiga 1200, and they are. But it turns out they work with all classic Amigas that have Mitsumi hybrid switches. So that's pretty much all the models, as long as you have those Mitsumi hybrid switches, except for the Amiga 1000. These keys won't work with the 1000. Now, Mitsumi hybrid switches are the most common on the classic Amiga, so you're probably in good shape. However, Commodore keyboard manufacturers did produce several other variants of keyboards using different switches to cut costs. So if you're thinking about getting these keys in the future, you have to check and make sure you have the Mitsumi hybrid switches. How do you know if you have a Mitsumi keyboard? Well, pop off one of the keys and see if it looks like this. Basically, it's a female square inside of a circle. There's a male square on the backside of the keycap that fits in to this key. The kit came with some extra keys to make it compatible with the Amiga 500, 600, 2000, 3000, and 4000. If your keyboard uses an American ANSI return key, which is the fat one, then we've got a right shift key that is smaller than the left shift key, so it fits together properly. If your keyboard's an ISO version that uses the slim return key, we've got a longer right shift key here that will fit with it. The Amiga 600 has got a special keyboard layout, and the keys for it are also included. Now, one thing I'm noticing here is that these keys look exactly like the originals. They are top quality, really well made. These are not 3D printed keys. These are keys that are injection molded using the same process like the original keys were. Like there's a mold made and then the plastic is injected into the mold. It's much better than 3D printing. The stickers on the keys look beautiful. They are pad printed. Pad printing is the technology that Commodore used on 95% of all their Amiga keyboard caps. So it's the exact same lettering quality that you can find on the original Amiga keycaps. The actual printing is practically identical on the new keys and the old keys, but I did notice a slight variation on a couple of them. Here we have the new shift key on the top and the original on the bottom. You can see that the new keycaps printing is a bit thinner than the fatter and thicker original. If you look at the return key, you can see that the new printing is actually thicker. Here we have the new key on the top and the old key on the bottom. These variations don't make any difference to me, but I noticed it, so I figured I'd share it with you. Now check this out. I always think about my Amiga 1200 as being in pristine mint condition. But as I'm comparing it to the new keycaps of the original color, I can see how much my 1200 is actually yellowed. The main reason why the old keycaps turn yellow is because the plastic they're made of contains a flame retardant material. And the chemicals in this flame retardant material react badly to ultraviolet light over time and yellow the keycaps. A lot of people use a technique called retrobriting to de-yellow the plastic on their vintage stuff, but it's only a temporary fix, and the reason why it's only a temporary fix is because the flame retardant material is still in the plastic. To avoid that phenomena, the new keycaps are made with modern ABS plastic that doesn't contain that flame retardant material, so these keycaps are never ever gonna yellow. Alright, I've never replaced a keycap on an Amiga before, so I'm a little bit nervous, but let's give it a go. Alright guys, here's a spare Amiga 4000 keyboard that I have. The reason why I'm going to experiment on this keyboard is because, like I said, I've never removed keys before, so I'm a little bit nervous. And this is a spare Amiga 4000 keyboard I have, so God forbid anything happens, at least I've got my main keyboard. Now this is a really interesting keyboard, check this out. The main plastic, as you can see, is like very yellowed, and you can see the space bar is also very yellowed. But the keys are actually like really white, so you can really tell the difference that these keys must not have the flame retardant material in them, but the plastic for the case and the plastic for the space bar does have the flame retardant material, and they yellowed over time. Pretty interesting to look at there. Alright, so I'm pretty nervous, but we're gonna give this a go. I'm gonna try and remove the K key. So I've got my nifty keycap puller tool. I'm going to put it over the K key, I'm going to turn it so it's locked in, and I'm slowly going to pull it out. Boom, and out it comes. And check this out, there's actually a piece of rubber there. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a spring because that's what came in the kit with the A1200.net keys. But there's actually a piece of rubber. So this is new and interesting. Now what I'm guessing here is that this rubber could potentially dry out over time. I don't know if all Amiga models have rubber or they come with springs. This is my first time ever moving a key, so my first time ever seeing this rubber. But let's pop out the rubber and see what's under it. And there's our Mitsumi key. Now if we take a close look at the underside of the keycaps and compare the two, we've got the original keycap on the left and a new keycap on the right. Now they look almost identical. You can see that the circle in the center is a little bit bigger on the old keycap than on the new one, but the square is the piece that fits into the actual keyboard, and the square is the identical size, so I think we're good here. Alright guys, let's see if the new key will fit into the keyboard. I'm actually going to use a black key because the white key will look pretty similar. So I'm going to check out a black key and see if it fits onto the keyboard. Let's put it on. Perfect. It feels great. Alright guys, the K key went really well. So now we're going to step up our game a little bit. I'm going to try and remove one of the keys that has the stabilizers in it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this tab key, and we'll give it a go. See how she goes. Wiggle wiggle. Wow, and that one came off a little bit different. Wow, and look, there's the stabilizer. and it's a bit rusted out. As you can see, the stabilizer here is a bit rusted out, and we have these plastic bits that connect to the stabilizer. So here we have another rubber spring, and you can see here's the two plastic bits, and they were attached to the stabilizer. Now my stabilizer is actually pretty rusted out, so this is something I'd want to like take out and sand down and make it nice. But for now, I'm just going to try and put in one of the new keys and make sure it works. So I'm going to pull out the rubber. Notice I'm using a needle nose plier here. It's going to help a lot. I'm going to take out the plastic bits. It's like playing the game Operation when I was a kid. And now I'm going to get the new key. So here I have the plastic bit oriented so you can see that it's extruded on this side, and if you flip it upside down, it fits perfectly into the indent on the keycap. You can see here how the plastic bits fit into the bottom of the keycap. So I've got the plastic bits attached to the stabilizer, and I got the rubber spring ready to go, and they're oriented in the proper orientation to receive the new key. Here we go. Just gonna pop it on, line it up. I push it on. I just pushed it on, and I heard the plastic bits click into the new key, and there we have it. Feels great. Just like the other keys, perfect fit. Now I'm not sure if that was the best technique, the best way to place the key back into the keyboard. I put the clips onto the stabilizer first, but it might be better to actually put the clips on the bottom of the keycap first and then attach that to the stabilizer and then attach the stabilizer to the keyboard. But I'm not sure. This is my first time doing this, so I'm just learning as we go along. Maybe I got a little bit lucky there. So taking the keys out of the holder is actually pretty tricky. As you can see, the key puller tool doesn't fit around the keys because the keys are actually flush with the plastic here, so you can't get anything underneath. You'd have to use like an X-Acto knife or a really thin screwdriver. Problem is, if you do that, you risk scratching the keys. So I was reading Neil from Indie Retro News review of the keycaps, and he had a great suggestion. He suggested using one of these precision screwdrivers and turning the key holder over. And there's actually a bunch of holes on the bottom of the holder for the keycaps, and you can just take the precision screwdriver, push it through the hole, and very easily pop out the key. And that is how I suggest doing it. Great suggestion, Neil. Thank you so much. Alright, that's the gist of the new Commodore Amiga Keycaps. Overall, I think they're really well made and well worth the wait. Downsides? Sure, it took a while for them to be delivered, but they're here now, so we're good to go. Other downside is that if you've never replaced keys on your keyboard before, it can be a little tricky, but just take your time and you'll get through it without a problem. Personally, I ordered the CD32 colored case and matching keycaps back in the 2017 campaign. Now if you're watching this video and you weren't a part of that campaign and you're wondering where you can buy these new keycaps, you are in luck, because A1200.net is starting a new IndieGoGo campaign in the next couple of weeks. My hopes for the new campaign is that there's a wide variety of colors available at the same quality that we have here. Now here's something that's really interesting. When you backed the original Kickstarter, you weren't actually purchasing the keycaps. You were funding the production of the molds that the keycaps are made from. Now that the molds are complete and all the kinks have been worked out, I'm hoping that they can deliver the keycaps much faster. Also, a pledge of 75 Singapore dollars in the original Kickstarter got you a basic set of keycaps. Now that the molds are made, I'm hoping that the price comes down even more. If you want in on the new IndieGoGo keycap campaign, be sure to stay tuned to A1200.net, and we'll also be posting updates to our social media. That's twitter.com/thegurumeditate and facebook.com/thegurumeditation. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you have any questions about the keycaps, be sure to leave them in the comments below, because the folks from A1200.net will be reading them and responding. And we'll see you on the next episode of The Guru Meditation.